Travis Wayne Goodsell. Several days ago, one of my viewers commented asking me to give my position. And since I've done so many videos and my position may get missed as it's thrown in videos but not the focus of the video. So why not? Why not? I guess I won't watch Absence of Malice tonight either. Oh, break time. Alright, so my position. Born and raised in the church. Both parents born and raised in the church. So, I still have the speaker on. And so I was raised up to follow the paths of Lucifer and rebelled. And that rebellion led me to want to escape my family. And going to Rick's was literally heaven. But I knew all about Joseph Smith, obviously, and going to church, 100% attendance at early morning seminary. I became an Eagle Scout, and all that stuff, and went on mission. And while on my mission, I got to focus on reading the Bible, and had the purple marker highlighter to highlight all of the second coming references, as I believe that's what it was supposed to be called back then. Hang up the phone. And so the second coming has always been fascinating for me. I mean, after all, we're called Latter-day Saints. And so my position growing up was that the church was true, and that I was privileged, and the youth of the noble birthright. I became a priest that spring, followed by Benson's and solemn assembly to the priesthood, Aaronic priesthood. And I wanted to know all I could about the latter days, and got the opportunity to learn translation of Hebrew, marrying the half Canadian, and that opened up my world, deciphering Paleo Hebrew, and that led to deciphering the other Egyptian characters that are not listed in the sign list, and going on from there, finding out that the Bible are messianic literature, and the learning of the Jews, manner of prophesying, etc. Just like the Book of Mormon, not literal history. So yeah, tailbone. So I could go over my life and such, but instead my position has always been that the church was true, but I had trouble because Mormons, especially moving to Utah.
Peter Stevens, your cabin's here. Peter Stevens, your cabin's here.
Are you gonna hang up the phone this time? Yes. And so I just assumed that Mormons were wicked, not the church. And yet I'd listen to conferences and I'd hear apostles make mistakes. And that's tough to apologize for. Because having deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, gone on to decipher the other signs and the sign lists of Egyptian documents, I was knowing things that apostles now and prophets did not know. I became a translator. Excuse me. And and so it became tougher and tougher to apologize for them. And it even got to the point where I found Joseph Fielding Smith Jr. had said something about the garden and then was talking about how Eve was the one who was to blame for the fall. And then after he became president, he then quoted from the Book of Mormon, Adam fell. And I thought that was interesting. Maybe once you become the president of the church, you're now the inspired by the true God, and your false beliefs magically disappear. That was my position then, trying to justify what I was dealing with the church. And when I was working on the footnotes for the revision of scriptures, there was lots of changes that I was in a position to make, but they still rejected a lot of my changes that I made. And it's kind of discouraging because they need to be made and the church refused to allow them to be made. As Nelson then goes on to botch them at the Pulpit of Conference, when I was pivotal in telling the church, no, this needs to be changed, and then Nelson goes and botches those that needed to be changed that weren't changed. But my position under Nelson was changed. Then I was having difficulty with being under attack in the late 2000s, and it was even when the ex left. After the ex left, abandoned me and went back up to Canada. She dumped me off here in Utah. My parents had me build, and I didn't finish it purposely because I was pissed that they made me build it, the basement apartment, because it was supposed to be for my family, and then I'm supposed to, improve my prosperity and get out and get my own place.
Stephen Major, your cab is out front.
That
Just
should,
kidding, Peter Stevens, your cab is out front. Peter Stevens, your cab is waiting for you. Now.
and there's the Mormon who called me an anti-Mormon. Where was I? And it was expected that it was going to be timed perfectly for when my grandma's Alzheimer's got bad enough that she needed her own place. They didn't actually know Alzheimer's at that time. They were just saying that she's going to be old enough that she'll need to come live with them, and the basement would be all set for her. The only problem is her Alzheimer's got worse, and so they had to keep her upstairs. Anyway, so they never did get to use the basement for what they intended. Even my mom was hoping to use it, because then she wouldn't have to walk upstairs, and she'd just walk down the side ramp. But I heard that when my sister got divorced, one sister got divorced, she and the kids stayed in the basement, so it got used for other things. This was while I was betrayed by my family, as they were plotting to have me locked away from society. They even wanted me to be put into a mental home because I found I found evidence that they were moving, and my mom even told me that.
Steven, your cab is leaving.
Good.
Steven,
He doesn't
your
care.
cab is
He wasn't
leaving.
outside waiting. He's not going. Just they care too much. Oh man, it still smells. And so, yeah, my parents were talking with a psychologist about me. And now, if you know my generation and you know my generation of music, you know the one particular song that's a direct pattern to. Suicidal tendencies institutionalized. All I wanted was a Pepsi. And so, realizing that my parents were plotting to kick me to the streets, and that was horrifying. And so, I didn't trust them anymore, even though I'm working for my parents so that my mom can get the credit for work, not me, as I was a postal worker for the Draper post office at the time. Okay, the Nauvoo burning is finished. They've frozen it looks like they've frozen the views on the super sacred secret LDS doctrine. You guys don't know that I used the triple SGK, the Super Secret Society of Gummy Killers, when I was in high school. It was a cartoon club. In order to get in, you had to draw a cartoon of a unique way to kill Gumby. Mason Woldridge was a part of that. That was when I moved to Corona for the 8th grade. That's how Mason and I became acquainted. You probably heard other videos of mine where I talk about him, with the high school girls in bikinis at the pool behind us while we're talking about quantum physics. And so I'm realizing that in order to protect myself, I'm probably going to have to do a lawsuit. And I had no idea. There's no Google search to learn how to do a lawsuit on my own. That's the whole plot that the government traps us with, is that only the rich can afford a lawyer that can deal with all that stuff. And so I wrote what I titled Modern American Utopia as my petition for redress of grievances, and submitted that. However, because the church was involved, they weren't too happy, and Monson was in charge. 2008, Hinckley had died, and so they decided to actually arrest me as a terrorist and lock me away for 6 years of my life. See, people come here when their lives are ruined, and when their lives are ruined, they don't care what they say. And I'm doing the best I can to try to make it safe on YouTube for you, although I personally don't care. I'd let it fly. I would let it fly. But YouTube is evil enough that despite my only above 18 requirements, they want any excuse to shut me down. And so I found the receipt when I got out. Had my internet again restored, and it was in 2018 when I found the receipt, I think. And I couldn't, I was just like, dear God. So I confirmed, yes, the president and all prophets know and are willing participants in the destruction of my life. They ordered and paid for my lockup for the 6 years. So yes, my position on the church changed. But I'd been doing research previous in 2017, in which I was under attack at that time. They were trying to, well, they succeeded in getting my second ex away from the marriage, which was annulled, and out of the building that I was living in. And so that they could then target me for their abuse and torture and attempted murder and what became the eviction after several years. I survived for quite a long time before they succeeded in sending me here. But it was in Sunday school class, right before it began, my neighbor Bill Blunt sat across the aisle and leaned over to me and asked if I knew that Joseph Smith had a pistol. And I go, yeah, that was my third great grandfather's pistol, John Solomon Fulmer. And I said, did you know he had two? No, I did not know. So which one was my third great grandfather's? That was the one question I had. But then as I was studying about Carthage jail assassination, see, Joseph Smith was assassinated. Now they're trying to assassinate me. The generations after, they just don't change their modus operandi. It's the exact same pattern. And except I'm not the leader of the church, am I? They are now. Little twist of fate there. And and so I realized, as I'm studying the Carthage jail assassination, the forensic investigation is not corresponding with the church's claims. And I went, oh crap. Like I said, I would love to just let loose. And I may forget to delete the end. I almost forgot on the other video. It was almost finished saving, and I went, oh crap, I forgot that. So I stopped it and then went back and, you know, yay. And then realized, oh, I probably should add more to that video. It's only 8 minutes. The YouTube employee has been exposed and is backing off for the moment and slowing down the uploads. So I'll try to get as many videos as I can before he resumes. Because obviously nobody's finishing their investigation. They're at Garland. Yeah, I've got to turn in the receipts for the ransom that I've been paying. And so I went back to the beginning of church history. Started with Joseph Smith Sr., married to Lucy Mack in Vermont, Sharon County, where their kids were. And I did an outline of research, and with that outline of research, I just published the outline for the most part. I tried to do a narrative of the research that I found. It wasn't intended to be a professional piece where footnote referencing stuff was involved. It was just a narrative. And so there's other stuff that I've found as I've done videos for you guys where I need to update the information on that publication. But yeah, that again changed my position. I knew I was never going to be Christian. That was never an option for me. But my position, which I probably should have put at the beginning, is that I am all about the origin of religion, of mankind, even that of the Egyptians. That should have been the obvious answer for all Mormons. But I don't know, I guess people don't catch on. They get sucked into the popular thing to do. And so, yeah, I've been doing all sorts of videos based upon my scientific investigative research. And I use the science. I don't use whatever apologists are using. So, that's it. The origin of the Egyptians for the origin of religion. So, yeah, the Church of Christ that I started my company as, it's that organization. And it could be turned into a modern church, a restoration church, but Utah won't allow it. I have to have more people as part of my group. They don't trust me to do it alone. So, alrighty, does that answer your question, my position, with all of the interruptions?